SPARC was designed to explore and empower the strategies and processes that will change the systems that currently shape our built environment. All 6 of our SPARC sites share a specific common challenge, and that is the displacement of communities and families from their homes and neighborhoods.
What SPARC is doing is bringing models through the 6 sites of how you do work around racial inclusion and racial equity issues. And so I think the field is really interested in seeing how you incorporate this important lens of racial equity into investing in place.
SPARC has been very important for the Transformation Alliance's growth in the past 2 years. First, by really forcing us to include our health champion, it was the Atlanta Regional Collaborative for Health Improvements, South Face for Climate, Partnership for Southern Equity for Racial Equity. SPARC was the moment when we could intentionally invite all of those lenses to come and work with us.
SPARC's biggest accomplishments are really a matter of getting through the first stumbling blocks and really staying focused on the problems and the visions that are important to communities.
We're in a housing crisis because we have a jobs crisis, because we have an education crisis, because we have an environmental crisis, right? Because we have a racial equity crisis. If we don't understand that all of those things are really connected together, then it makes it harder to even come out of the housing crisis.
How do we actually begin to think about affordable housing as connected to climate change, as connected to transportation, as connected to the growing economy and the old left behind neglected communities?
SPARC is trying to help build and include the voices of community leaders in shaping their future. This is one of the issues that is really getting in the way of empowering communities.
So you want a community to have a voice in terms of their own life, and so you have this partnership. Do they have a voice in terms of what the foundation is doing outside of the community? How it's actually investing its money?
To me, the aspiration is to arrive to a place where communities control, again, their timetable, and they decide when they want to move out, when they want to stay, based on their own interests and not the interests of others.
This is displacement.
The issue of displacement is long, it's historic, and we need to begin to change the arc of how investment happens. How do you talk about this in a way that's inclusive?
Very important thing that SPARC allowed us to do was be very honest about naming race and racial equity as the cutting edge of our work and the leading edge of our work. We saw our membership almost double in the year that we were able to be very honest about the role of race in why we have the built environment that we do today. And I think that is a direct reflection of folks looking for some place to be value aligned with their own work.
I feel like the influence has been less that we're saying something new and more that our community partners are able to speak with a stronger voice. Some of that is through the strength of the collaboratives in each place, and also that they have kind of the national backing of some organizations and peers in other regions that they're connected to.
What does it take to help communities better attract and deploy capital for things like affordable housing, transit, and other social, economic, and environmental priorities within their community?
We have a set of investment capital that's going into projects that probably wouldn't happen without philanthropic investment. And they begin to show how community-led investment is a different kind of real estate investment. One of the really exciting examples here in Los Angeles is how the coalition that's being supported through SPARC has been successful getting an inclusionary housing ordinance passed. They're now working on other kinds of citywide policies that protect people who are at threat of being displaced.
As an organization that really wanted to help community members learn and build power.
We've invested in all 6 of the SPARC regions. That work really ranges from investing in the startup of a fresh food and grocery store in Memphis to a larger marketplace for entrepreneurs and small business owners in Thai-Town on the west side of Los Angeles.
There's an economic reason for us to have stronger policies on inclusion and anti-displacement. So another one is keeping the profit in the community itself. So when we're talking about an economic justification, we also have to look at the climate resilience justification.
If we're going to be successful, it's making sure that it's not just those that can afford to build climate resilient homes or to drive cleaner cars, but everyone can benefit from these investments.
And a lot of us, particularly with Enterprise in Chicago, fought for us to get passive house certification and net zero certification. So if we can get policy passed that allows for subsidy to go into these buildings, the demand will go up, the prices will go down, and we'll see systemic change.
We're gathering information from the sites on how they're keeping those community outcomes at the forefront of their work and how they're using community and resident engagement and how they're relying on data to make sure that their work is going to achieve the outcomes that they want it to achieve.
The end goal is to create a template for how we put the policy, the partnerships, the capital tools in place for communities to be racially equitable, climate resilient, and healthy.
We can thrive, so we all thrive and leave a legacy of love. So thank you, everybody.
SPARC, with its partners and invested communities, seeks one simple outcome, and that's to ensure that all people, regardless of where they live, have an opportunity at a healthy, fair, and prosperous life.